recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Goldsmith Romero, I'll start with you. Welcome. Thank you for coming to my office, and our conversation was very helpful. Should banks be able to hold the assets of digital asset companies?
Thank you, Senator. I appreciated our conversation too. Banks do hold custody of digital assets right now.
And do you support that?
Yes, I mean, I'm very familiar with banks holding custody of those assets, and it's another business like any other business.
Should banks be able to provide services to digital asset companies like payment services?
Yeah, I don't think it's the FDIC's role to tell banks what industries or companies they should be providing services to.
I appreciate your answer, because otherwise we end up with concentration risk, regardless of whether we're talking about digital assets or oil and gas or any other banked industry. So I appreciate that. What's your action plan, the specific steps you would take to solve the management crisis that's going on at the FDIC?
Thanks, Senator. And I know you care a lot about this, and we talked about this. And I talked about how the report reads like a bygone era, particularly for women and minorities and people in the LGBTQ community. It's going to take a lot. If confirmed, I'll give you my sort of top line thoughts. Modernize the federal workplace, put in the best practices of federal workplace that I'm used to and what I've led. I want to herald those employees who are doing the right thing and the managers who are doing the right thing. I would send a clear message that harassment, discrimination, retaliation is not allowed. That includes bringing accountability, investigations, and disciplinary proceedings. Put in place the right process that I'm used to seeing for EEO, and encourage people to use it rather than have them live in fear. Change this litigation adverse culture, which just moves the problem around or kicks the can down the road, and address it right away. The era of each office being a fiefdom would end. It would not be 70 plus FDICs. It'd be one FDIC, just like I did at SIGTARP with one SIGTARP. And then we talked about I have some plans I'm thinking about on that hotel.
Thank you, and I thank you for your willingness to address it right away. I think it does need immediate attention. So thank you. Mr. Ito, welcome. Do you support implementation of the International Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures?
Senator, thank you for that question. At the present time, I'm not a member of SOC. It's an issue that I would like to, learn more about or question and what that is, and I'll be glad to meet with you and your staff.
Good. I would like to meet with you about that. I'm a little bit concerned about taking away from the ability of states to do what's best in their local markets, and your Hawaiian market's very different from mine in the state of Wyoming, and I want to make sure that states' markets are tailored to the needs of those states. And tell me about your advocacy for states.
Yeah, so Senator, as being really a state regulator for almost in 5 days, it'll be 31 years.
You're the commissioner's commissioner, aren't you?
I've been there and been through many different changes. State-based regulation, I think, has done an excellent job. My fellow state regulators, what we do in terms of monitoring and protecting the insurance market as well as consumers. As you noted, each state has its own unique risks. I mean, Hawaii, we have on catastrophe, we have volcano, tsunamis, hurricane,
absolutely.
And wildfires. And every state is different.
Yeah.
So there is a uniqueness in the states, and as I mentioned, really, all my fellow commissioners, superintendents have done an excellent job, and will continue to do so.
So one more question for you. The primary function of the council is to identify risks to financial stability, correct?
Yes.
So what do you consider to be the top risk to financial stability?
Well, as FSOC has identified in their 2023 annual report, there's a number of risks that could pose a threat to the financial stability. For me, one of the risks that Hawaii is living through right now is really on catastrophic risks and climate risks. The Maui wildfire resulted in $3.2 billion in insured losses. It has made the Hawaii market even harder. Tragically, there was a loss of 102 lives in Lahaina.
Yeah.
And so with respect to climate risks, in the last 4 years in the U.S., there's been 20 or on average about 20 catastrophic losses over $1 billion. Total loss of about 4 consecutive years of $100 billion in reinsurance loss. So that is an emergent risk that FSOC has identified. If I'm confirmed, that is one area that I would be interested in really further analyzing what's happening with the property and casualty market and the stresses it's putting on the financial system.
Thank you, Mr. Ito. My time is up. I do have a question for you, Ms. Johnson, but I will submit it for the record and would kindly ask for your written response. Thank you. Thank you all for your willingness to be considered for one of these appointments. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Lummis, for your thoughtful questions.